The first thing I want to do in preparation to paint this is to put some masking fluid over the eyes so that I can paint quite freely. So I pour a little bit out into my tray. Use a small brush. I just wet the brush first so it releases any masking fluid that might dry on it. Oh, you get a bit of eraser crumb in that other eye, but it doesn't matter. It'll all lift off once it's dry and I've finished the washes that need to go on before I get into the eye details. Now that's totally dry, that masking fluid. So I can now wet the entire sheet. I want to work a lot on wet paper, so this can be quite wet. Take ultramarine blue and a bit of burnt sienna and just kind of mix up a combination here of blue-gray. This is going to be for the darkest part. I'm going to switch brushes and put a little bit of water in that very combination just to shape my whites. I want to get a little bit of shadow down. Changing the grays a little bit, a little bluer, a little browner. I'm just going to use those two combinations for all this wet work. Get the shadows on the white first. A little bit up here. And again, I check the reference quite often just to get ideas. Now I go in with the big darks and just let them explode into the wet paper. Doesn't matter where they go really, except generally in the shape of the cat's head here. See how much they're bleeding in the wet paper. I don't have to worry about the eyes. They're protected with that masking fluid, so I'll go right over it. I'm trying to encourage that furry effect, but I still want to use my reference to give you a guide as to where the whites are going to be and where the strange white pattern on my cat is. Starting to look more like a dog with the wide ears, but we'll fix that later. I want to keep this flowing, this furry kind of flare going on. Just so it gives it kind of a soft feel in the end result. It's a pretty thick combination of burnt sienna and ultramarine. And now with a clean brush, this is about a 3/8 half-inch flat brush. Just whatever brush you like, clean it and then lift. While the paper's still wet, it's still wet from the very first wetting that I did with that big brush. But it's setting up a little bit now so that when I do lift it, it doesn't run back into the part that I've lifted off. And now it's dry. Now you can use that same brush, but wet it and shape it to a fine edge. And with a piece of tissue, On my other hand, I just soften it and lift, and it'll leave nice thin little furry shapes, whiskery shapes, just enough to enhance the hair a little bit. And now with that same light mixture of ultramarine and burnt sienna that I was using to put the white shadows on, I can just go in and pick up a bit of fur texture. Don't have to do too much. Just looking at the reference, just checking, see where it needs to be darkened. And now, very selectively, going in with the dark wash, the same paint that I mixed for the first wet wash, is being used here right over top. Just dry brushing it on, just kind of dusting it to pick up a bit of an edge. Just get a little more definition. Same colors for the nose. I just cleaned this brush. I felt it was a little bit harsh. The fur is going to obscure the top edge of the nose. And so now, off comes the masking fluid. Everything is totally dry now. So being fairly gentle, not to disturb too much of the paint that we've done. And get this ghostly look of the cat without the eyes. I need to draw back in now because, of course, the masking fluid lifts a lot of the graphite out, but I can see enough of it that I can re-establish the eye. With a bit of raw sienna, maybe a little orange maybe in that, just to give it a kind of a yellowish, reddish yellow look, or gold look to the eye. A little burnt sienna to shade it where it's getting darker. Won't put the pupil in just yet. I'm going to wait till this little wash dries. And just clean the brush and just lighten it near this bottom edge. Just want to get a bit of variation in the eyeball shape there, the glossiness of it. Making sure that the white highlight stays. And this is where you need a good photo to work from. So you keep going back to your reference. And there's going to be a little balancing of the eye shapes to make sure they're both the same and both the same angle. You may have to lift a bit to shape one. I'm just kind of picking out the darks now. It's kind of finicky work, but if you do a good job of the eyes, you can leave the other part kind of loose and just feathered, feathered edges to look soft and furry. I don't want to get too fussy here, but I do want I want the eyes to really get your attention. Balance these. Just let that furry background go.